I think my ears have seen a tremendous improvement from the amount of volume that
Mm,
I've been through. And because my ears weren't well trained before, when I first started, I was making tracks maybe like once a month.
mm.
And now, like for example, these past 2 weeks, I've already made like 2 tracks.
Like now that you could just keep making a full track from start to finish, do you feel confident about that now? Like in a week?
Yeah, for sure.
So before you joined the program, what was the main challenges that you had with your production?
I think the main challenges were like not really understanding what I could do in Ableton, for example, like not really knowing like technically how to use it. Also, I say another challenge was like speed of like getting tracks in. I think like when I first started, I was making tracks maybe like once a month.
Mm,
And now, like for example, these past 2 weeks, I've already made like 2 tracks. So
awesome.
definitely that has helped a lot. And yeah, those are the main challenges for sure.
And so do you feel like now that you could just keep making a full track from start to finish, do you feel confident about that now? Like in a week?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Sweet. Sweet. And what do you feel like the main things was that were holding you back, that was stopping you from doing that before?
I think I think it was my ears, to be honest, because my I think my ears have seen a tremendous improvement from the amount of volume that
Mm,
I've been through.
yeah.
And because my ears weren't well trained before, I would hear songs and be like, "Oh, I like that. I would like to do something like that." But it's like I didn't really know how,
Yeah.
so I would spend like so long trying to figure it out. But now I think I can hear something. For the most part, I mean, I'm still improving for sure. It takes time, but I can hear something and most of the time be like, okay, I kind of have an idea of what that could be.
Yeah, and I think the training the ears is so important because it's very hard. You can learn all the techniques in the world, but if you can't even hear what's going in the background, like you can't actually apply those techniques to the best of your ability. Now, with the style of learning that we did, it's a very different type of learning. Like usually most teaching is done through auditory or visual learning, but this style of learning is more kinesthetic learning because it's how I've always learned things in the best way. Like for example, if I was in a like a university thing and I was being taught by like a lecturer, I wouldn't pick up anything they were saying. It would just go straight through my head. I'd be just zoning out, being like, what the fuck did they just talk about? But kinesthetic style learning is because I need to do the hands-on work over and over again before I get it, but then I rarely get it. Like, and that's kinesthetic learning, which is why we did the high volume work, like the repetition, 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 until it just sinks in. And now you know it like in the back of your hand, like it's just like it's like part of your thought process. And I try to combine that with, the usual style of learning because, you're doing the repetition work, then you show up and then we're analyzing it and then we're discussing it. So auditory, and then we're also like visually showing, whatever could be tweaked over, the project file and whatnot. So we're trying to combine all those things. But how did you find that style of learning?
It's definitely intense.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I was also the type of student to be like falling asleep in class. But definitely, even though it's intense, it works just like you said.
Mm.
And that applies to like a lot of things in life too, for me at
Yeah.
least.
Absolutely. Yeah. The harder shit, there's always like some insane growth on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And like you should be proud of the fact that you pushed through and actually did like all the exercises. Most people like disappear for like 6 months. Not most people, but there
Really.
is some cases where somebody they'll ghost me for like 2 months or something because they found it too difficult. But they were never really in it for the right reasons in the first place. Like they weren't like passionate about the music career thing. That's the thing. It's like if you don't actually have that motivation in the first place, you're not gonna make it in the industry anyway. Like that's why we do these hard things because it's like it's a testament of like whether you're even ready for the music industry. It's like if you can do this, then like you're fucking sweet. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And so what were the main things you got out of it besides, you obviously your mix and master's gone a lot better, but also you said your ears are trained better now, so you can pick up what you couldn't hear before. But was there anything else that you got out of it?
Um,
And the
Definitely
speed?
drop, yeah, speed, drop arrangement for sure. Like, um, I I did not know what I was doing before. I mean, I understood song structure. That was one thing I had, but drop arrangement is another thing, and
Mm,
remaking all that stuff, definitely helps for sure.
mm. Yeah,
Also, like melody writing, songwriting, MIDI writing, stuff like that for sure has gotten better as well.
awesome. Awesome. And so if there's anybody that was watching this video and is on the fence about checking out one of our programs or industry set, what would you say to them based on like your experience?
I would definitely recommend it just because like when I was first starting out, like I would like book sessions with people and it's like ends up being a lot more expensive over time.
Mm,
But this is kind of just like a condensed class. You're paying a fair amount. Also, to encourage other people, I'd say like I just started 6 months ago and I'm getting like at least 1,000 to 2,000 plays on tracks. So I think it's possible for anybody for sure.
mm. Yeah, yeah. And also not just that, but you're finishing full song start to finish in like a week. And
Yeah,
you've been doing it for like 6 months, which most people usually they're at like 2 years in before they can even do that.